Look, we have no desire to get into a direct confrontation with Russia, but Russia has no right to send missiles into our airspace. Well, Russia has been raining drones and missiles on Ukraine, and actually mostly on civilian targets. As you know, they've knocked out 70% of Ukraine's electricity making capacity. For 2.5 years, we've now seen all these pictures of civilian blocks of flats being hit, hospitals being hit, reception centers. Sometimes, I think, on purpose, sometimes out of negligence. And some of these missiles enter Polish airspace. The Russians claim it's by mistake or they deny it, but it happens. One Russian cruise missile last year traveled over 2/3 of Poland, ended up in western Poland, 10 kilometers from my own house. The Russian missiles have no business flying over Poland. So yes, we have a legitimate right of self-defense to take them out of Polish airspace. And when they are in imminent danger of crossing into airspace, is something to be considered, because once they do enter our airspace and we shoot them down, the debris can hurt property and people. Once you start a war, you don't control the situation. The other side does what you don't expect. And Putin started this war on a whole range of false, super optimistic assumptions that have been proven wrong. And wars never go according to the plan that the aggressor has sketched out at the beginning. And so the Ukrainians have done what they've done. The jury is still out on how sustained it can be, but it's a test for those countries that have been calling for peace. Because sometimes when we heard this, I think it sounded like a demand that Ukraine should capitulate to Putin's demands. So now all those who've advocated for peace have a perfect opportunity to call on both countries to withdraw their armies to the internationally recognized border, which I think would be a fair solution to this war. My frustration is that in some parts of the world, people don't see this Russian aggression for what it is, which is a colonial attempt to regain your former colony. What I don't get is why some countries, Singapore excluded, but some countries don't sympathize with the victim of colonial aggression, with an attempt to recolonize a sovereign country. That somehow they have a soft spot for a colonial power doing that. This I don't get. This is the third attempt to colonize Ukraine by the Russians. When I hear some leaders in the so-called global south, and I know what a difficult concept that is, I sometimes am surprised by the lack of empathy for the victim of colonialism. If Russia conquered Ukraine, she might go further. And President Putin has threatened not only Ukraine, not only Georgia, but also Latvia. Mr. Medvedev, the former president of Russia, threatens Poland all the time. And you know, after the invasions of Georgia and Ukraine, when the Russians threaten us, we have to take this seriously. And the other worry is that we need the United States and China to maintain its rivalry at the right temperature without boiling over. China is our biggest trading partner, for Europe, but the United States is our best and biggest ally. And we don't want to have to choose, which is why we hope that the natural rivalry between two great powers will be kept within bounds.